Holy Charles Xavier School for Kidnapped Youngsters, Batman! Tiki here, and I have been watching through every episode of Batman Beyond for the first time. Dragon, tell him why we're here.
Well, you see, folks, long ago, I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham in a way. But that was the past, and we must now enter the Batman's future.
That's right, and tonight we are talking mind games. And this episode definitely lives up to the title, Dragon. I think this is I'm a little bit mixed on this episode, but at the same time, I think it's one of the more ambitious episodes that we've covered so far. What I really appreciate about this episode, just kind of giving my general thoughts, is I really appreciate that this truly feels like it's kind of like the formula for the show, sort of going forward with, especially with the role that Max has in this episode. I really think that this is probably, obviously not like her most featured episode, but it's probably the episode that I've enjoyed her presence in. I feel like her presence is starting to become really, really integrated into the show, and I appreciate that. This is a solid episode for sure. I just Dragon, I think maybe you can probably talk me through some of it. I do think that parts of it get a little overly complicated. I respect the heck out of it because I think that this is really trying to kind of like shine a light on, correct me if I'm wrong, Dragon, but child trafficking and kidnapping, right?
Well, it's definitely kidnapping.
Yeah, through the lens of, like I said, the Charles Xavier School for Kidnapped Youngsters. What do you think of that, Holy Dragon?
I think it's on brand.
All right. Okay, probably this episode should start Max's arc to be Batwoman. Is that a spoiler? Or Monarch? All right, we also have Kogias in the comments wishing us a happy Bat Thursday. Dragon, give us some scoop on this. How did this one come about?
So this is directed by the great Butch Lukic. Butch Lukic he did Lost Soul, which is an episode you really liked.
Feels kind of like that episode.
He did Lost Soul, and he did Spellbound, the big Spellbinder introduction. It had a lot of heady visuals in it. He also, the thing to remember is Butch Lukic is heading the Tomorrowverse thing, all the new DC animated original movies that are kind of interconnected. A little bit of a rough patch right now, but started very strong. Yeah, Tiki, we have a bit of a reverb going on. Can you do anything about
that? Not really. It's I usually I have the same setup that I usually have. I don't know.
Okay, great.
I'm sorry.
So the writer on this was Alan Burnett. Now, Alan Burnett did Rebirth and Meltdown. Of course, very, very much kind of the godfather of Batman animation to a degree. Involved in all the big stuff. So he did like 5 episodes of Batman Beyond. So, it was. So he did like 5 episodes of Batman Beyond, and now he's. So the episodes that he did do are very unique and very different from one another, one could say. So this is kind of the third entry in the bunch, I think. So the studio worked on this, as you guessed, Cocoa with some little nice nougaty marshmallows of Dong Yang in the mix. Yeah, we're all good now. I think we fixed it.
Okay.
So let's see all right. So here's what you need to know. So we're slowly but surely doing some supernatural stuff in Batman Beyond with an episode like this, and a couple episodes in season 2. We're kind of branching out a little bit to get away with some of the bigger stuff in season 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that was like a plan. Honestly, I think it was just kind of coincidence for a lot of things. I think they were kind of feeling some story directions out and just seeing what stuck, as they kind of did in the first season. Season 2 is very much kind of a wide net for them to try a whole bunch of stuff and trying to make the show different, not just like the whole corporate espionage kind of season arc of season 1 that we had with Derek Powers and Blight and all that. So yeah, basically we're kind of doing the supernatural thing through grounded means, like we have here with the whole kind of psychic, kind of not psychic, but kind of they're not mutants, but they are kind of using like kind of like trained mental abilities. Let's see. So the Brain Trust has very much kind of an X Men and more, I guess, more accurately, kind of a Brotherhood of Evil Mutants vibe about them, kind of the anti X Men, the bad guy X Men. This episode is very fun casting with Mara Wilson in it.
Wait, is she the one who was doing the bombshell?
No. Mara Wilson is at this. She's the little girl.
Okay,
She's
that makes more sense. I don't know why I. Okay, who? Please tell me who's playing bombshell because like the only way I could describe her voice is kind of like a more Cajun kind of Jennifer Tilly.
I don't know about Jennifer Tilly, but I can tell you the actress who plays her is from God. I'm trying to remember I think she might have been from Charlie's Angels. She was from like an old show from the 70s.
Okay. She has a very distinct voice, though. Like, she kind of has, like, the high-pitched, sort of raspy quality that Tilly has, I think.
I mean, I kind of I see a little bit of that. I don't think you're crazy. There's a bit of a southern kind of twang in there for her. There's something there. I don't know if it's quite kind of like a little kind of throaty sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Kate Jackson did her voice. Yeah, it was Charlie's Angels. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's like kind of like I'm looking through my notes right now. I did write down a little Charlie's Angels thing. Yeah, I have no idea who she was in Charlie's Angels, but she was in Charlie's Angels. Anyway, let's see. So also,
she was Bosley.
Funny. All right, so there's a lot of retroactive Justice League stuff that's in DCAU stuff that's happening in this episode, actually. So the Invulnerable Man, for example, he is voiced by Victor Rivers. Now, Victor Rivers went on to voice Rotalic, the placeholder Hawkman, the big Star-Crossed episode. Remember the one where they were thinking, like, can we make Hawkman a bad guy? It's like, no, we can't do that. We're going to actually introduce the real Hawkman down the line if we ever are lucky enough. But, that was kind of the... so he's a great actor. And this is kind of them playing with him for the first time. It's like, hey, we love this guy. Let's bring him back for a big, substantial role, which they did. And the Brain Trust comes back in the Zeta Project. All these guys come back, and they actually give the albino guy a voice. Guess who voices the albino man?
I don't know who.
John Rhys Davies.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he's only doing like kind of like tiger like kind of gurs and stuff here. But
well, I mean that's appropriate because for me, my favorite John Rhys Davies line is in the Lord of the Rings when they're all saying like, "You have my sword and you have my bow," and then him as Gimli, he's just like, "And my
But, well, and this is he's not playing the character here. They're going to recast him when he actually speaks in Zeta to do him there. Anyway, there's more stuff with the albino. There's a lot to unpack with the albino. We're going to wait until he shows up in the episode to break that down. Anyway, so there's a little bit of mind games for you. All right.
Okay, so the episode starts. I really like how we kind of like really are establishing the status quo for Max's role within the Batman of it all, where she's basically the woman on the chair.
Yeah. One thing, when Bruce Wayne isn't the guy in the chair, she's the friendly alternate, where basically Bruce Wayne is his boss, she's the friend, so she's more the guy in the chair. So you have we have a seemingly family drive going on in the flying car on a stormy night. Meanwhile, in the Batmobile, Max is helping Terry study for his history test. And you have a fun meta gag where they're naming the presidents, and they stop after Clinton because at the time they were making this episode, he was the most current president, so they had no idea who the next guy was going to be.
Oh, that's funny. Okay. Clinton was the fun one, which I agree with.
Yes, that's true. Then there was the boring one. They're all boring.
Which I mean, obviously they didn't know it was going to be George W. But George W. was a lot of things as a president. I would not call that man boring.
Nah, not really. All right, so
I think his father was more the boring one.
No, absolutely. I gotta wonder. I wonder if George W. Bush liked The Simpsons or not.
Oh man, that's an interesting question. I would
Because
be
we
very
know,
interested to find the answer to
because
that.
we know his father really did watch
I
it.
would like to think that he did. I would like to think he's oh god, Dragon. I'd like to think he's kind of like angsty Spielberg, like yeah, fuck you, Dad. They
A
sure
little bit,
got
because
you
you know,
good.
George W. Bush did appear often in Family Guy,
Mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm.
to be fair, every time we showed him in Family Guy, it was never in like a really mean context. It was just kind of like we made fun of him, kind of a dumb guy, but still, it was kind of a funny context, you know.
I honestly feel like I don't want to get too deep into politics, but I feel like George W. Bush feels fucking quaint compared to what we have going on now.
Yeah, it used to be simpler
I
times,
mean,
you
I'm
know.
not saying he was a great guy at all,
No, no, but I'm
but
saying at least in terms of mockery, when we do the mockeries of the president, it was a lighthearted affair, you
right,
know. It was
right.
like, yeah, he's a bit of a party guy who we put in office, and it's like, oh, he's but not like Clinton party guy sort of thing. This guy's like, oh, he's supposed to be official, but he's just he's messing around a lot.
Mhm.
Anyway, so point being, the family their car has been hit by lightning, which I like. That's an interesting problem to have in the future. If it's raining, we don't want to be out. His car got hit by lightning and it goes down. And awesome bat save here. The Batmobile springs into action, helps the car crash land to an emergency landing. And yeah, we have this bit where he says like, "We're fine. We can take it from here." And I don't know. It's really good animation and good acting in the
It's
scene
also
here
like
and there.
really eerie on a rewatch just because it's like inherently this is not a good situation. And Dragon, you know what the really disturbing thing about this episode to me is when it does draw the real life parallels to actual kidnappings. And this is definitely a reoccurring thing where people, they'll encounter the like the quote unquote family that has the abducted child and they'll seem normal and they are very much not normal.
Oh yeah,
Um, it's kind of like that hiding in plain sight sort of thing.
absolutely. So I love this haunting bit and all the animation on this, where Batman can feel something's off in this scene, and he kind of looks at the kid, and he kind of shares this. There's almost like you can see the sadness he feels, and I wonder how much of that is like she's conveying that maybe subconsciously with her powers, like forming a link, or how much of that is just Batman just kind of feeling something in the look this child's giving him, that something's off here, and I feel
I
kind of
mean, it's
sad
clearly
for it.
The Shining. I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Did you take any of that point away, or just want to make the
No, no, no.
shiny
I
joke?
agree. I agree. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's see. So,
I mean, I do. To be fair, to your point, I do like how it is a little bit ambiguous. I kind of read it as just like, like I said, like Terry taking note, like the situation seems normal, but there might be, just the look in her eyes might be a little bit of a red flag in its own right.
yeah.
All right,
All right. Let's see. So it's the day of the big history test.
let's break down history tests in the future, Dragon.
Yeah. So apparently, the history tests in the future are 10 short essay questions. Yeah. So,
You have
we've
30
all,
minutes, so don't dwell on any one question.
God. So we've all been here. We got a test and we're trying to focus, and then we have a projection of a haunting girl just kind of like popping in, in the
Fucking
class saying,
every single test I ever took in high school, Dragon. I'm glad I wasn't the only one.
"I need your
It
help. I
was
don't
so
want to go.
annoying.
I refuse to go. Please help me." And on an endless loop, and just Terry here, he's just poor Terry. He's just
I
unable to
honestly think this
this.
thumbnail that we have here just really sums it up. He's just like, oh no, like what are you doing? And and then Max is just like very attentively like just like everyone is so focused, but he is just like it's such a mind fuck. It's a mind game, if you will.
Yeah, yeah. So just on a constant loop. So we're in the Batcave, and he tells Bruce about everything that happened there. So he's in the cave, and I love this moment where this is what I'm saying. This is what I love about Batman Beyond. They always have like these great subtle details represented so well. It's fitting in with the DCAU at its best here, where she appears again, and Ace can sense her, and Bruce picks up on this. Bruce picks up on the dog sensing there's something. So basically, Bruce is on board. Okay, this Terry's not crazy here. This is actually happening.
Mm-hmm.
So then Bruce got on the sidelines here, giving him some really good advice. Like, well, talk to her. And then Terry gets into a conversation with her. Says, I know, I got that part. Where are you?
Yeah, then we get this really kind of like there is a lot of good animation in this episode, including like Bruce Wayne just kind of like warping out of existence, seemingly.
Yeah, him and the dog.
Also, I'm just going to shout out Richard's victims in the comments. He says, let's see, he says dumb reference, but sort of like Trinity's family before the other shoe drops for Dexter. Yeah, I mean, Trinity, that whole thing, I feel like the reason why Trinity is as chilling as he is because, like, he is very much like the prototypical kind of like, like wolf in sheep's clothing, hiding in plain sight psychopath. Like,
Folks,
that is why he is so scary.
Folks, if we've ever learned anything about dinner at the Trinity House, always say you're thankful for
Oh, God.
Always say you're thankful for him.
Yep.
Or else it's going to go terribly wrong. Good. All right. So let's see. So anyway, we have this thing where he basically everything swirls away in this green effect while Bruce is talking to him off the sidelines and telling Terry to look around the room, kind of look for clues.
Also, I need to call this out. Bombshell very much kind of like strikes a resemblance to Morticia Addams.
Yeah, I think I think her and
whereas Tamara definitely has a Wednesday Addams vibe. You think that is intentional?
I think that's absolutely intentional.
I
can't prove it, but it feels. I mean, especially with Alan Burnett, they had a hand in this. I think he would have gone for the Morticia reference.
Sure.
I buy it. Anyway, so we're kind of. Daddy's mad, at least seemingly, and we later learn that he's absolutely not her father at all. Daddy's mad, which again I like that. Terry's kind of like, oh boy, I don't like the situation this kid's being put in, because again we have a Batman. Like, not to be fair, Batman's always had.
I mean, you know what it almost kind of reminds me of? It almost kind of reminds me of the situation that teachers could find themselves in, of like, like being aware that a kid's home life is shit and not really being able to do anything about it.
Like that scene in Kindergarten Cop.
Yep.
Seriously, it's probably my favorite scene in Kindergarten Cop.
Kindergarten Cop, the thing about Kindergarten Cop, Dragon, that no one ever brings up, it hits you in the feels when it wants to.
Yeah, that scene with when Schwarzenegger beats up the abusive father is so awesome. And then the principal is like, tell me, what did it feel like to hit that SOB? It felt good. She's like so jazzed out of her mind, like, yeah, I've always wanted to do that, but because she cares about the kids, and it's like such a great uplifting scene.
Exactly, yeah.
Anyway, so just the fact is, like Terry, again, like all Batmen should, he has a soft spot for kids here. So he's trying to stand in the way, even though he's a ghost right now. He's just kind of standing there, and he kind of breaks the illusion essentially as he tries, like, hey, sit up there, and he just walks through him. And Bruce says, "What did you see on the pillow?" It says GPT. And I gotta be honest, I forget. We're gonna go through it because I think I outlined it later on. I think there's a great Conroy moment, but if there isn't, I just love the way Conroy delivers Gotham Park Towers. I don't know why. It just feels like it's just him saying it like it's the first and only time we ever go to Gotham Park Towers, because it may in the future when it really goes back there. But it feels like, oh man, bad stuff's happening at Gotham Park Towers, and Bruce knows about it.
Okay, there's not a lot of Bruce Wayne lines in this episode. So would you say that's the great Conroy moment, or is
I think so, but we got to go through it again. There might be one more.
Okay.
I'm a little,
because I was kind of struggling to come up with one this episode. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Actually, I remember there is a great Conroy line. It comes later. Actually,
okay.
I know exactly. This is the runner-up for the Great Conroy. We know exactly what the Great Conroy line is. Yeah. Okay. Point being, though, I just love the way he says it. Anyway, so Terry and Max, they go to Gotham Park Towers. I mean, even though it's kind of morbid the way he says it, it does feel like, man, there's an advertisement. We got to go to Gotham. Doesn't Gotham Park Towers look like a nice place aside from all the psycho the fights? That
what it kind of reminds me of, Dragon? It kind of reminds me of the Cecil Hotel.
A little bit.
Like, if it wasn't for all the seedy crime, it'd be a very nice establishment.
I mean, if it had, like, did the Cecil Hotel have like a place to eat inside of it?
Definitely not now, I would think. I'm sure back in the day, probably.
See, the Cecil Hotel thing is why I really want you to watch Only Murders in the Building, because that's kind of a similar premise.
Right.
Anyway, So Terry and Max are having dinner in the very swanky Gotham Park Towers, and they're going undercover because he would have been suspicious if Terry was there alone. So he has Max as kind of his de facto date, and Max is all dolled up. The sacrifice she makes to eat lobster thermidor, which fun again a retroactive Batman reference. I meant to do a deep dive to find out if lobster thermidor has always been a thing with Bruce Wayne or not.
Oh my god.
Lego Batman turns it into a thing where
Oh yeah.
we keep making lobster thermidor Bruce Wayne's favorite meal.
I also just love the status quo of Max being able to go on stakeout missions with Terry
Mm-hmm.
because she knows anyways, and then Bruce Wayne having to front the bill for it. I love that setup.
Oh yeah, it's great. So he says like save me some dessert. And, he walks off because he overhears using the listening device. He overhears, and this is really great detective work here. He overhears the room that they're staying in, figuring the girl's there, and he can spring the girl.
Uh
So yes, Bombshell is meeting with the albino.
huh.
Anyway, I know the albino has a name. We're gonna break it down in a minute, kids. So, anyways, let's see. So he suits up, goes up to the room. He doesn't find the girl, finds a doll, but then we have a big jump scare with the doll. Tiki, what happens? We have the Barbie teaser, don't we?
Yeah, pretty much.
No. We have the doll's head turns into Tamara's head.
Mhm.
Saying like, they know.
Oh god.
Look out! And then we have the Invulnerable Man mixing it up with Batman here, and we have stuff that again, in the days of Batman animated series on Fox, they would not be able to get away with, but on Kids WB, make it more brutal. Like have him grab him by the head and toss him through a few walls. So it used to be a network thing where you couldn't grab characters by the heads because it was imitatable for kids that
That makes sense.
animals or little brothers or babies or whatnot. So so we have this brutal fight where he's like tossing them through things and crashing through walls, and they have this great. I love my favorite bit here, fighting wise, that we do with Terry all the time is that when Terry gets punched, he falls in a very elegant way, like he lands on his feet, very cat like. I don't know, it looks really cool.
Mhm.
Anyway, so he flips him out the window when the guy charges at him mid run. Toss him out the window, and he takes a swan dive. Kids, he falls way down and crashes, kind of like Clayface did in Feet of Clay. Like boom, only he's perfectly fine. He's okay. He just walks off, dusts himself off, picks himself up, and walks all out of the scene.
Yep.
All right, so we're in the Batcave. Bruce, and here's where we get
Slideshow, Dragon. Slideshow.
we do have a literal slideshow.
Very literal, rapidly paced slideshow. Terry, we haven't been doing slideshows for a while, so I'm going to need to show you a whole bunch of slides in rapid succession to make up for lost time.
McGinnis, we need a literal slideshow right now. Get back to the cave now. Don't bring the girl. She's eating me out of house and home. I'm eating soup for Christ's sake.
Oh my god.
Anyway, that's cold soup, and not like the cold soup Alfred made. Anyway, so seriously though, here's where we get into here's where we get the great Conroy moment. So Bruce has Terry hooked up to. Hold on one second. It's all right. So Bruce is using this subconscious facial recognition device on Terry's head. Basically, it's kind of linked up to his head, and it's like a real life thing. By the way, it's just kind of maybe a little bit more easy. I think it's a little more smooth than it will be in real life, though. Or use this thing for stimuli when you're testing things on people, see what they respond to in like focus group testing and other kind of analysis and everything. So he shows him a series of he shows him pretty much all the missing children files in Gotham, and basically it'll stop on who he remembers based on his subconscious, like kind of beeping practically, or like kind of stopping and right on where it needs to go. So, by the way, you'll notice they reused models in this. It's kind of funny. They reused Annie from Growing Pains, from the
really?
steps of Growing Pains, and also this is kind of funny. This is all this retroactive Justice League stuff. One of the little kids from the Kids Stuff episode of Justice League Unlimited, what happened is they probably needed kid designs for that episode, so they went back to all the other kid designs they used. So okay, let's pull this design from that episode of Batman Beyond that we're going to use in Justice League Unlimited. All right, so here's the big Conroy mode. Here's the great Conroy mode. Terry says, "I can't believe all these kids are missing," and as Bruce says, "Believe it."
Oh, nah, yeah, you're right, Dragon. Short but sweet. for sure.
So just the fact that again, it's a very Batman line. Just the fact that the separated family dynamic, and the fact that again it's a little inversed here. Is the fact that a child being separated from their parents in a different tragic circumstance is going to affect both Bruce and Terry very very strongly, given how they lost their family, or at least parts of their family. All right, so Tamara Calder. Tamara Calder is missing since yesterday. So again, that makes it even worse for Terry, where Terry feels really bad. He saw her there yesterday.
Right, right.
Had he known. All right, so Batman sneaks into Tamara's apartment and finds her folks there. And this is a really great. Tiki, how'd you feel about this scene?
I genuinely think this is probably the best scene in the episode.
It's really good, right?
What I really like about it is how sort of strikingly realistic this situation is in regards to like, yeah, definitely not like the mutant powers thing, but like I could totally see like a child trafficking organization being made under the guise of like, like a STEM school.
Mm-hmm.
And just the whole thing of like them giving the parents bogus phone numbers, that is like hauntingly realistic. Like that hits too close to home.
Taking them to a shell school.
Right, exactly.
I love the detail. It just shows you the difference in approach that Terry has than Bruce would have had, where he's just kind of like sitting on the counter listening to all this, where you get a sense he's not pulling a bad exit on these folks, where Batman absolutely would.
Also, like, because this show is, like, we kind of are in the upper class a lot of the time, obviously with the Bruce Wayne of it all, it's nice to see some working folks.
Now, remember, Tiki, with the whole architecture thing of this, their apartment, when we go into it from the exterior shot, they're all the way at the bottom.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. There's your class thing there. Terry's like middle class, so he's like in the middle of the high rise. These guys are all the way at the bottom.
So yeah, genuinely, like I said, I think this is probably the best scene in the episode. I really think it paints a picture of the desperation of the situation.
Batman promises he's on the case. He's going to find him, and he gets the lead. That is, they're called the Brain Trust, and he gets a location on the schools. Terry's at school. He reports in to Bruce.
Also, we need to bring up the toy too.
Yes, we get Poogly, the Teletubby knockoff.
yes.
Hey, by the way, was the idea with the Teletubbies that they were rotund and have like TV antennas? Is that what they were called?
I have no idea, Dragon. Don't ask me about Teletubby lore.
I know.
I don't know.
I know you're not going to know. I'm just saying to reflect nostalgically for a moment with my fellow contemporary, perhaps. Perhaps it's
Are you suggesting that they're like TVs?
I mean, just looking at the namesake,
Okay, you know what? I am gonna, because you mentioned that, I am gonna give away one of the better Barbie gags, which is, those Barbie TVs?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's one of them in the movie, and she's a person.
But to have the TV work again with Barbie?
Where it was literally just, like, her face and then, like, the TV.
Wait, so you mean to tell me, like, they're watching a sticker?
No, I mean to tell you, like, this was like, you know those old Mickey Mouse TVs?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, except with Barbie.
Oh.
And there's like a gag in the movie where it's like, do you think I like having a screen in the middle of my chest?
Ooh, I see.
Yeah, it's really funny. Anyways.
God. All right. Let's see. All right. But yes, the Teletubbies is a weird concept. Like a baby for the sun for some reason. It's weird.
Dragon, really quick, Richard's Victims, he's been asking about like the history of it all. Do we have a date?
All right, question. What year is Batman? Will we get to that year in our lifetime or something like? Okay, I did all the year stuff way back at the start of Batman Beyond. I'm trying to. Okay, so if I recall, off the top of my head right now, might be a little off. It was Batman Beyond takes place in 2040 something. So that's what I'm saying. Because basically, it's set.
So 15, it's like
it's roughly
what,
set
like 15 years from now.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Well, yes, roughly. Yeah.
Roughly.
That's what I'm saying. So let's just say, if memory serves, if memory serves, Batman Beyond is 50 years from the start of Batman the Animated Series, which basically, for all intents and purposes, takes place in between 91
Okay.
and 92, whatever your preference may be. Because they made it 91. But let's just say 92 onwards, so roughly
I would
50
like
years.
to think that Batman the Animated Series canonically takes place in 1989.
I mean, you can think that.
Or starts. I don't know. I know there's no evidence. I just like the tie-in to Batman 89.
That's what I'm saying. There's more of a tie-in to Batman Returns than there is to 89.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Like
Yeah.
literally 92 in that case.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so
Yeah, the weird thing is Batman the Animated Series looks like it takes place in the 40s and Beyond looks like it takes place centuries later.
yeah, that's the thing where the idea is that it is Batman the Animated Series is kind of a fusion between the kind of the late 1930s, which of course mainly bled into the 40s. The World's Fair, they were going for like the 1930s World Fair, which very much felt like the 40s, mixed with a bit of like the cutting edge tech. If you were in the 30s, would have been 90s tech. Like the floppy disk was around, that was probably as advanced as it got. So that was kind of their fusion of the timelines, where it predominantly is 40s set, but it's ambiguous in the time frame. So you could have stuff like Hard Act, but like your technology would have kind of a Fleischer Superman vibe to it, which was interesting. But yeah, if I memory serves, it's 50 years from 92. So what is that? Yeah, it's about roughly 2042, and we're in season 2, so maybe it's 2043 by this juncture. So more or less, that's when we're at. Again, I could break down the whole thing. I don't want to waste the whole episode. The point being, that's where we're at. So we're in the school. We're finding it's been gutted. It has like fake computers and stuff. It's only been built to be the first floor. Bruce Wayne has been checking on the Brain Trust. It's an international society. Headquarters is somewhere in Europe. He's still talking with Interpol. Again, Interpol rears its head again. Bruce Wayne so many of the Batman villains have ties to Interpol,
Yeah.
and beyond. Let's see. So, Terry asked the whole what's so brainy about that guy at the hotel? Wasn't that brainy? He was super strong. He's like, well, he was invulnerable. He felt no pain, like so many shamans do. They can walk on hot coals. I hate when you, I hate mind over matter. I hate when you blitz me like that.
So yeah, that leads to this shaman fight scene, right?
Well, he's not a shaman. We have the albino.
Okay.
So the albino. Okay, so let me tell you the scoop on.
First of all, we have to break down before we go any further. We have to break down how awesome, like the first attack on Terry is, and how he literally looks like he's being like mind melted.
Oh yeah, and we do like I wish I looked in the name of this. It's not the Wilhelm scream, but it's like the horror movie Wilhelm scream, like the whole like.
Right. Yeah.
Like the medallion, for example, uses that when we rip the medallion out of his chest. We act like, oh god, we ripped his heart out of his chest, like that sort of thing. Let's look at the medallion here for a sec. Let's reach that far back.
We did talk about doing a Jackie Chan theme month. That's probably going to happen at some point.
At some point, yeah. We're going to talk about the very non-PC Tuxedo movie.
Is that really that non-PC?
It was made way before Me Too era, I'll tell you that much.
Because I just remember that movie being really charming, but I was like 13.
I too, as a kid who loved the Jackie Chan animated show, oh my god, we put him in an awesome tuxedo that lets him fight. I love this. Take that, Tony Stark. So, so we find the albino. So the albino is kind of an interesting case here, where I think what happened was, okay, so in Justice League Unlimited, I think I showed you this episode once for research purposes. It's called Date Night. It's a great episode with the question in it. And essentially, we replaced Tobias Whale with an original character, Steve Mandragora, who in the DCAU, at least the way it's told here in that episode, is that Steve Mandragora killed Huntress's father, and that's what turned her into Huntress. Mm-hmm. So the whole thing was her getting revenge, and at the end of the episode, we revealed he was trying to see his son, Edgar. Now, Edgar is like this little albino child that was his son, and that's kind of where we left off with him. So what happened most likely is that, okay, they're working on Justice League Unlimited. They can't use Tobias Whale. They want to change up the model, and they're like, what the heck do we do? Let's look back at some other stuff we've done. Hey, we have this albino character. What if retroactively we made this? we made him the son of this guy. So that's how, that way we can kind of set up this. We set up the kid becoming this mystical character, and we can have like kind of reuse design for Stephen Mandragora.
Okay, yeah.
It's
So
retroactive. You don't need to know that, but I'm just saying it's
here's
kind of
the
like,
thing with this guy. From my perspective, is like I think the fight scene is cool, but the problem is that I feel like again he kind of just comes out of nowhere. I don't really feel like he fits in with the rest of the episode.
well, they did show him at the hotel earlier. You know, he's like,
Yeah, I'm just saying the whole he doesn't feel as connected to the the rest of the plot.
well, I think it's because he's not the initial people we have like feelings
Right,
about in terms of,
exactly,
like
exactly. Yeah.
they kidnapped this child. Like magic, would no Edgar here is not in the car.
Uh-huh.
I get that. This, let's be honest, this is more of like they want a cool anime sequence.
Sure.
That's what it is.
No,
So,
no,
again,
don't get me wrong, Dragon. For a fight scene, it's definitely a really cool one. I'll give it credit there.
so again, retroactively looking back at it, because you realize when you play it linearly, it's like there's no way they could have predicted they were going to use this albino character years later. But yeah, it's kind of funny how that worked out, you know. Anyway, so it's kind of interesting. You look at Edgar in Jesse Lemmy. He seems like an average kid who just seems to be kind of like heavy and albino. It's like, oh god, he's going to become this. You look at it now, it's like, what he becomes. He's also going to sound like John Rhys Davies. Apparently,
I mean, to be fair, this design does scream John Rhys Davies, though. It really does.
If only they had the idea to let him talk in this episode and cast John Rhys Davies now. All right, so let's see. So we have this creepy psychokinetic battle with Batman, where he's floating and he's got like the pink eyes and the psychic attack on Terry, which leads to that horrifying like anti-Wilhelm scream. And let's see. So we have this. So while he's distracted, he's about to he's whacking Terry with the cane. He's pulling out the blade on the cane. He's trying to impale him, but he grabs like he's seeing through him very briefly, deflects with like the coat hanger.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so again, we have some good fight here. He's gotten the advantage and he deflects that blade. I love how freaked out Edgar gets when it cuts.
Yeah. When it cuts, it takes off a little bit of his hair.
Yep. Anyway, so then basically he chokes him out, almost like an Arkham takedown thing.
Yeah, let's talk about the sound design in that, man, because you genuinely hear him like choking, like you hear the struggle.
As I'm saying, literally that takedown is like a stealth takedown from one of the Arkham games. That's how Nightwing takes someone down. He uses the Eskrima 6 to basically choke a sucker out.
Okay, Richard Victims, I'm going to shout him out really quick. He said, my headcanon is that Terry's parents met each other during Barbenheimer. Is that mean Terry's parents met each other during Barbenheimer? And then he says, mean Terry, not meant, it's not what I meant to write, but I like the nickname. This reminds me of Big Bad Harv. Oh. Or, of course, our favorite, like, obscure counterpoint to Big Bad Harv. Really mean Steve.
Really mean Steve.
Michael B. Jordan's character from Chronicle. I still love that. All right. Okay. Kogia says it seems random that they base a villain off of Tobias Whale since he's Black Lightning's enemy. However, they eventually made Tobias Whale a Batman villain and Beware the Batman.
It is weird how that worked, where it's like, hey, we can't use Tobias Whale in Justice League, but we can use him in Beware the Batman. Tobias Whale isn't really even a Batman villain, but Beware the Batman is trying to be creative and like kind of remix a few things. Like, let's put Simon Stagg in there as like one of the businessmen. Let's mix and match a little bit here. Which I mean, that's the Deathstroke in the mix. Deathstroke kind of gets around, so
sure.
So I mean, Deathstroke's really getting around because he's also in this new Superman show.
Oh, is he? Oh, wow.
Yeah, isn't he? He gets around everywhere, man.
Yeah, he really does. You're not kidding.
He's in Arrow. He's in Teen Titans. he's in the Batman stuff. He's in Justice League movies. He's everywhere.
Blade.
Yep. Anyway, There's something about Deathstroke in this new show. I kind of want to tell you, but I want you to be surprised by it.
Yeah, don't tell me because I am planning on watching it. So
Yeah. Okay, so point being, he takes him out. Look, the snarling on this guy is really creepy too. It's like this tiger-like kind of snarl.
uh-huh.
All right, so takes him out. It's the next day. Got a little moment. I think you should speak to this moment. So Terry returns home, and what is
Yeah. This is a nice little moment. I love the animation on it too. It's a very brief Matt cameo. Matt being a very appropriate person to kind of slot in here as sort of like the moral compass for Terry. And it's a very simple, just Terry walks by Matt's room, sees that he doesn't have his covers over him while he's sleeping, so he tucks them in. Yeah. And my favorite little bit of animation, Dragon, is like Terry's looking at him like very lovingly, like, you know, like, thank God nothing happened to you, like it's happening to this little girl. Yeah. But then you also get like just the tiniest, most subtle bit of animation of Terry rolling his eyes like, I can't believe I'm feeling for this little twerp.
Yep.
I love it.
Good. It's good to have layers.
Yeah.
In this case, for the boy too, because he's probably cold sleeping. Yeah.
Right.
All right. So Terry and Max, they're kind of brainstorming what to do next. This is like, okay, Terry, tell me about the fat man. I love how into it she is right now, despite the fact she's doing like the little like makeup, not the makeup. She's doing like a little face mask thing. Says, okay, Terry, focus. No time for guilt. Tell me about the fat man. This is like, well, he won't be forming sentences for a while. And I can feel that she's still in Gotham. Don't ask me how I know, but I can feel it now. So Max excuses herself, take off the face mask. Meanwhile, Terry talks.
I really like her line about taking off the face mask. Hold on, I have it somewhere. Sorry. Something about like
the real me.
Oh yeah, time to reveal the new, more natural me. And Dragon, goddamn, just Cree Summers, she is just delivering on this character, man. She really is.
When does Cree? Come on, man, get with it.
No, when is obviously, Cree Summers always delivers. Yeah. Obviously,
she's like the male.
She's up there with one of my favorite Cree Summers performances, though.
Cree Summers is like the male, darn it. She always delivers. Just give her a little hat. She always delivers.
Oh God,
make it a red hat while we're at it. Anyway,
no, let's not make it a red hat.
Well, not that kind of. Oh, come on, get your mind out of the gutter. I just mean like number 5 from Codename Kids.
Just saying, you got to be careful with that.
Why have we lost the color red? Come on, anyway. We can't have nice things. Can't even have colors.
Well, I refuse to let those people have Proud of Your Boy, though. I refuse to let them have that.
Oh yeah. The point being, Terry wits in. He's like talking to the doll. The plushie, and she talks back to him. She's whispering because they have to be quiet right now. She like whispers like, "Where are you?" I love it. It's like it's kind of a nice thing. Terry's getting a little annoyed at her. She's giving him like these little kid answers. Like,
I mean, I was joking before, but like, really, the power does basically kind of come down to shining.
I mean, yeah.
Anyway, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think it's cool. I actually think the actual power of The Shining was kind of underused in the movie.
That tracks. This is like, where are you? On a boat. Where's the boat? In the water.
I'm on a boat, Terry McGinnis. Take a look at me.
All right.
I couldn't resist. I'm sorry.
Well, my associate is joking. She does provide a porthole to give Terry a clue here.
Mm-hmm.
So he sees Pier 7. So our big climax takes place at, you guessed it, Pier 7. Now, at Pier 7, we see a fancy boat. Bombshell telling Tamara to eat because there's not going to be snacks on this cruise.
I love how Tamara and this whole dynamic, this whole scene, honestly, this whole wrap-up, it's given me a real original Rescuers vibe, Dragon.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, there's definitely... What was the bad guy's name in the Rescuers?
Madame Medusa.
Wait, really, Madame Medusa?
That was her name, yes.
That's the best name they can come up with.
Madame Medusa will always just be Diet Coke. No, I'm sorry. She will always be Diet Shasta Cruella DeVille.
I'm saying it's like, what are they thinking? Madame Medusa.
Good for her.
She doesn't even have like there's no hair gimmick or anything. I don't get it.
I think the most memorable thing with her is probably the alligators.
Well, I
Which
know
again, the Medusa thing makes no sense.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the alligators, yes.
Call her like Gator Granny or something like that. I don't know.
Well, here's a matchup for you.
Oh god,
Madam Medusa versus Captain Hook.
that would be a fun matchup. You're right.
You know, Captain Hook's gonna be freaked out during that whole fight. Anyway.
Okay, now I'm just picturing like Madam Medusa and Captain Hook getting added to the Smash Brothers roster in that kind of like meme way where like lame out of nowhere characters get added to Smash. Anyways, Captain Hook gets a hand up on the competition. All right, and I'm sorry.
Anyway, so we're on the fancy boat. We do have a dynamic though, the whole captive captor thing where Tamara's not giving him in. She's like tossing the plate of food. She ain't happy with these people. Yeah, Tamara, fight these bad people. Yeah. They're waiting for Edgar, but there's no word from Edgar because Batman wiped the floor with him. So let's see. So she's like saying, "Yeah, Batman got him," and they're like, scoffing at it, but like, okay, like, we're not going to take any chances. We're going to go. Meanwhile, we have Batman in camouflage mode walking on the boat. And, with Bombshells explain what the whole deal with the Brain Trust is, where essentially they have the logic for how they got their powers is that, again, it is kind of mind over matter. It's pretty much the old thing of like we can channel 90% of the brain power that, traditionally people don't use, which, but in real life is a myth. It's not proven. It's not technically true. Like the fact that could happen, or if that whole 90-10% thing actually holds any water these days. They're playing with like the Limitless or the Lucy logic there.
Yes, for like a movie. It's
2 movies.
Yeah,
I just mentioned them.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Limitless and Lucy.
Right, Limitless was what I was thinking.
Limitless is the better one. Limitless is great, and also has a really nice TV show, which I think you might like.
I was legitimately distracted because I am trying to figure out what or what Richard Victim's joke means here.
No, the joke means they sent like anthrax and stuff in the 90s. That's the joke.
Was anthrax? I thought anthrax was a 9/11 thing.
Huh? You know what? Well, I thought there weren't bombs in the 90s though.
It could have still been around in the 90s. Yeah.
Okay, you might be right about the anthrax thing. But
regardless, still, Richard's Victims, kind of a dark joke.
Anyways, so where was I? Oh yeah, but here's the thing. Limitless is great because you have the movie, and then the series is essentially.
I think I've seen the movie. I want to say I've seen the movie.
One thing is that the series is like a sequel. It's technically a sequel to the movie because Bradley Cooper is in it, and he's playing that same character, but he is advanced in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it was the whole 90. Basically, these guys tapping 90% of the brain power, which is how they're only able to unlock the psychic abilities, almost like Key in Dragon Ball Z,
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so together we're gonna change the world. I don't want to change the world. I just want my mommy and daddy.
I mean, legit, honestly.
Yeah, can't falter. And then she punches her like, wow, just Tamara's going for like punches that mean lady in her Morticia Adams face, like bam. Yeah. Take that, Catherine Zeta-Jones.
You don't have to apologize for Richard's Victims. It's fine. I'm just saying it is a dark joke.
Unabomber. That was bombs. Darn it. Yep. Wrong tragedy. Sorry. So, let's see. This is don't try and call him. Remember, we can hear him too. So she fuses the door shut. Batman awesomely breaks down that door and returns Puglia. Admittedly, in hindsight, I tried to find this image, but it was not easy to come by in good quality. The idea like Batman returning the Puglia, the little Teletubby, to the girls. Your mom thought you might miss this. I thought that was so darn charming.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then we have I think the best gag in the whole episode. It's like one of the great. This is one that Wilford Dell delivers this so fantastically. It's like a classic Wilford Dell delivery here. It's just like, hey, what's the creepy lady's powers, anyways? Is it? I don't know.
Right.
They call her Bombshell. Oh, that's encouraging.
That is a very Ron Stoppable line.
Ron Stoppable were
Ron Stoppable just like seeping out of that line.
Again, this is the pro to Ron Stoppable to a degree.
Of course.
If Ron Stoppable were played straight, you'd have Terry McGinnis. But if you just play the full comedy, you get Ron Stoppable. So it's kind of like let's pluck all the seriousness out of that role. Oh, that's encouraging. All right. So big fight scene here. The invulnerable man shows up and he's he's tossing him around. But here's the thing: I like that Terry in this fight in the rematch, he goes for the move that won the last fight. He tips him over. He throws him overboard to get him out of the way.
True.
Because job one, saving this little girl. So then unfortunately, Bombshell is firing this giant pyrokinetic blast at him. Let's see. So but this is a nice move. He shields Tamara and tells her to go, and he's like this sack of flour or something. It's like a sack of just a sack. I don't know what's in the sack. Because why would there be flour?
I'm pretty sure it's flour. It's either flour or cement.
That's what I'm saying. Flour or cement, but why would either be on a boat? I guess cement if they need to.
Cement makes a little bit more sense to be on a boat.
Yeah, because I guess
flour maybe because the chef. I don't know.
I guess it's a fair point. I guess flour. Point being, a sack of flour and or cement or sand, one of those three items, is on this boat, and Terry grabs it, and basically it's kind of a fake out where they attack him, thinking that he has the girl, and he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. So then this is a great thing where they're about to kill Batman. She's about to throw a big old blast at him, and he turns. So the invulnerable man takes the whole blast, and like, ouch. I know thank goodness he can't feel anything because that looks like it hurt. He took off the whole shirt and everything. So one down. Let's see. So then Batman gets a blast, and she's complimenting him, saying that would have taken out a small infantry, but let's try a direct hit. So Tamara then saves the day. What does Tamara do, Tiggy?
She channels her psychic energy and basically cyclopses his ass.
Cyclops?
Shooting the laser beams out of the eyes.
Well, I meant like she creates the giant poogly, Tiggy. She creates like the giant.
She does do the eyeball blast though. She does do that, but yeah, she also creates the giant doll. Yeah,
but you're right. You're not wrong. She does that, but that was more. But yes, you're right. So we have the giant Teletubby. Basically a Teletubby kaiju in the form of poogly here.
I mean, to be fair, like her doing that blast is really kind of like what defeats this guy because it literally blinds him.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying we also crush Bombshell with that giant crate.
Sure.
It's like, oh man, that looks like it hurt, but she deserved for kidnapping a child. So then the invulnerable man, he's attacking, and then Tamara, she blinds.
This is what that Sound of Freedom movie is actually like, Dragon.
Like dropping a giant crate on somebody?
You know what that movie's about, right?
No, I don't know what that's about.
It's literally about like Jim Caviezel trying to stop child traffickers.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Huh.
It's just a very messy movie because very problematic people made it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's one of those movies. Very good message, very problematic production.
Regardless. Tamara, then, this is the most heady moment of the whole episode. Tamara blinds the invulnerable man, taking away his sight, and he's freaking out about it. He's like, ah!
And then, honestly, this whole, like, the man kind of, like, like, descending into darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Don't get me wrong, it's not nearly as dark as this, but it kind of has some shades of Screw Eye's demise.
Little bit? Well, I mean, kind of. You're right. Descending into the darkness, yeah, but... Really
I mean, like I said, Screw Eyes is definitely the more memorable one, for sure, but...
Yeah.
I mean, we'll talk... Oh my god, I legitimately, Dragon, the We're Back anniversary podcast might be the one I'm most looking forward to all year.
It's gonna be screwy.
God. We might eat some crow.
One could say.
All right. Anyways.
Yep. Anyway. So we'll wrap up here. We often have, Terry and Max do a little exposition just to show you that it was a happy ending after that horrifically traumatizing ending we just saw.
But I really do like this ending, though. It is a very happy ending with the astral projection, let's call it, of Tamara just smiling and waving to Terry.
Yeah, we learned that it was a mutual butt saving, and that she got back to their parents, and they're in protective custody, which means they got a better apartment, and they're seeing doctors to help her with her powers. And a little wave, it's a little wave. Like, I think she's doing just fine. But yeah.
All right. Okay, so yeah, final thoughts, Dragon. Honestly, I think with a little bit more fine tuning, this could have been like one of the all-time greats for Batman Beyond, because I really respect how dark they take some of the stuff. Like I said, that one scene with her parents, it really tells you all you need to know about how realistically dark the situation is. I do think it just kind of gets a little bit. Honestly, I think there's one too many adult antagonists. I think that's really my one issue with it. But other than that, like I said, beyond the between the really dark concept and then just a very, very good economic use of Maxine, really solid episode overall. Probably in the top 5 of this season 2 episodes we've talked about so far.
All right. Yeah, I'll be honest. Mind Games is not one of my go-tos because, it is that thing where it's kind of bordering on the supernatural, but again, it is using like kind of the mental techniques of it all. Looking back on it, this episode does have a significance to it in terms of like Terry had I think Terry going out of his way to save this child, and then on the rewatch, just seeing how much he's really getting education, like the whole missing children dilemma that Batman's going up against.
Right, yeah.
Like he did in Underdwellers, for example, which is an aspect of the episode no one ever gives
better
credit.
Episode than the Underdwellers.
No, it is, but I'm just saying it's like no one ever gives Underdwellers credit for like the message.
I gave Underdwellers credit. I'm saying this is still a better episode.
No, I know that. No, I know that. I'm just saying traditionally people always like turn their nose. Underdwellers, right? The sewer king. But it's just.
I mean, then again, I also I've got Batman in my basement, so I don't know what to tell you.
My point is, no one ever gives that. There's that episode. There's that moment in the Underdwellers episode where he sees all those poor victimized children, and you see Batman so pissed off, and he pulls out that little camera saying evidence, and he's taking pictures of all the horrible stuff. So this guy will face justice. It's like I don't know. Point being, I love the layers that are applied to the episode here, and it does have some really great set pieces with kind of like the whole mind over matter thing. How he's fighting. He's like 3 very different power sets that he's going up against here. So it's an interesting episode. It's them having a field day. Like, what kind of stuff can we do that we've never put the original Batman through? Like, okay, well, here's a few things.
Right.
Let's see. Any comments and shout-outs we should do before?
Yeah, sure. There was an argument. Kokios thinks Terry should be called Bat Teen. Kokios, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to take Richard's victim side here. For me, the big appeal about Terry McGinnis's Batman is very much that he is not Bruce Wayne's Batman, and yet he still has his own flavor as a Batman. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't vibe with that whole sentiment. And I agree with Richard's victims. I think no criminal would take him seriously at all if he was going around like, "Stop, thief! I'm Bat Teen." Let's see. He also says the Underdwellers is super underrated. Sewer King was awesome. I've got a Batman in my basement too. It's a cute episode. Yeah, it's very Amblin-esque. That's always my argument for that episode. It's very Amblin-esque. Okay, also Richard's victims. Let's see. I don't know. We'll just agree to disagree on that, Kogios. I mean, he definitely doesn't feel like Bruce Wayne's Batman, but like I said, I think the whole appeal of the show is sort of him carving his own route as a Batman. Okay, Richard's victim says, final thoughts. If you find a kid over 10 who isn't super rich or super poor using the term daddy, just assume something is wrong. Also, I love this, and I very much kind of agree with it. I want a live-action Batman movie where missing kids are part of the plot.
Yeah, that would be good. I'm
Yeah,
glad you like
that
it.
genuinely sounds awesome, honestly.
Yeah.
Like I imagine like a prisoners level missing children situation, but involving Batman.
Oh yeah.
All right. So I think that's about it, Dragon. And rest assured, I do actually have the next episode. I know we didn't actually check beforehand. You gave your final thoughts, so
Yeah.
all right, go ahead and cue it up.
All right. Hamilton High, haunted, a ghost with a grudge. When Ouija boards attack, can Batman stop this would-be specter, or is Nelson Nash next in line? Tune in next time to find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
On the next visit to Batcave Beyond with Revenant. Oh, that's encouraging.
Oh, that's encouraging.